Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is something new for me right now. I was going to use the mic, but and stuff like I did in my last vlog or my last like interstellar ooh, I can't speak, interstellar podcast or whatever, but like all of those extra steps kind of made me want to procrastinate this even more or prolong this even longer, right? And even down to me, I was sitting here like, oh, I gotta go through my hair, I gotta go put on makeup, I gotta put on like earrings or whatever, and it's just like I'm done like worrying about that all the time, because one, you know, I do love my aesthetics or whatever, but at the same time it's like, for what I'm about to do next and for where things are headed for me, you know, it may not always be so pretty, you know what I mean? So what I mean by that is literally just like I won't be able to have a consistent setup or something, because I am getting ready to take another leap of faith. My sister is having an issue right now, so sorry. I will probably try and cut those out. I just want to get this out. But I am, you know, I done wrote down my thoughts a lot. I done spoke to a friend about what I'm about to do, what I've been dealing with, and how much I've been having to work through, especially through the last September. Yeah, and don't worry about my sister, guys. She can't talk or anything. Like, she literally just she yells and has like these spells or whatever. She's fine, I hope. Like, I think she's okay. It's just like she is having a moment right now, right? She has cerebral palsy, so I'm gonna put that out there. It's like severe, so please ignore that. I had these, and she was screaming in like my podcast before, and it's just like, you know, I don't really want to stay up until 12 o'clock 3 a.m. to finally record this, because I'm going to be tired and I also want to stream soon. So when I get off stream, I just want to go straight to bed, right? And I just kind of just want to upload this video. I don't really want to keep, you know, do too much right now, right? That's why I have the bonnet on and I have just no makeup and just lip gloss, like, you know. But anyways, like, I really been having to, the reason I'm glad there wasn't like a September vlog either is because I've been having to sit down and do some like self-reflection and like really see myself, you know, for all the things that I'm capable of, and also just how important it is for me to embrace my independence. And this is just something that has been coming up for me for a few months now. Slowly I've been learning a lot of lessons and having a lot of realizations, a lot of truths come up, you know, internally, about whether it be about myself or just people in my environment or something. Like, it's just a lot been having to come up, and it's been really hard to, I've been carrying a lot of emotional baggage, you know. I've been having to work through the fear of failure, fear of just stepping into the unknown again, you know what I mean? Especially after I did it the last time and I kind of quote unquote failed at it, you know what I mean? But yeah, and I also had to just be real with myself, you know, about how I was feeling, you know, how deeply things affected me, and how I was out here trying to, even to an extent, like, I feel like in my music I'm very open about how I'm feeling, but even, you know, but somehow I would be out here trying to portray like I was still very happy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I lean on positivity still. I could be boohoo crying and I'll still, like, I'm still gonna be trying to come up with a quote or something. I don't know, it's just how I am. But this, like, I just recently haven't been like allowing myself to, I still felt like I had to still be like strong in a way. Like it was a lot of guilt around what I was feeling. You know what I mean? I felt like the emotions that I was feeling, whether it be anger, grief, sadness, shame, or whatever, the feelings of abandonment or stuff, like all of that, like I felt like it was part of me felt like I still had to hide that part of myself. Like as long as I've been doing these like little podcasts or these little vlogs or whatever, I haven't been very open and honest about how traumatic, shit was for me, right? And I like, in a way, it was like I was lying to myself about it, I guess. Like I've been just trying to sugarcoat it because I guess I was ashamed, about, I felt like I didn't know and like understand what I went through, or like, like it was just not that nobody gave a crap about it. It's just like I just seen 616. That's a number that's been very important for me this week. But it's just in a way I was just downplaying, because maybe like the embarrassment around it or something, downplaying my traumas and stuff. And it wasn't until I started actually being honest about like just how effed up things were around me, or just like being honest with other people, I guess, like telling people the full story of why I act the way I act, or why when I say that I mean like when I say that I mean like why I act the way I act. Like, do I even mean that in that way? I don't know. I'm just like, I wrote notes down, I wrote my thoughts down, whatever. But, like whenever I would like talk to a friend and like, I would be kind of looking for advice, but it would be hard to kind of take their advice because I would just give them like the surface level shit, and and like they would give me like a surface level, like obvious type of like advice, you know what I mean? It's just like, well, yeah, you're right, like, with this whole situation, like it's time for me to move out of this house and away from my family, and that's just something that I tried to do earlier this year, and I don't know, I just got caught up in love, right? And then or what I thought was love or something, whatever the fuck that was, I got caught up in some emotions and like, lost track and lost faith, when things didn't work out the way that I thought they were supposed to work out or whatever. And so like I've been just like, it threw me back into like a depression, high functioning depression, like depression that like, I tend to throw myself into my work sometimes, or I try to become like a serial helper, or it's mainly the overworking thing. I just haven't been so nice to myself recently. I haven't been so gentle with myself, with my body, and not in a way of like, literally abusing it, just kind of like, kind of taking on the blame for the shit, other people's wrongdoings, and realizing that it was understanding like, yes, I had my role in things, and that I needed to work on, right? But at the same time, it's like I would literally, I think in my last podcast is when I had this realization. I was explaining a time where I had to, and my brother was beating on me again, and I got so fed up, and I didn't feel really protected to like, I couldn't trust my mom to like discipline him or like, handle the situation right. So I ended up calling my dad, and my dad called the police, right? Which is something that would, because he was far away. I was 10 or 9 or 10. I was like 9 or 10. My brother was already like 18 or something. And like, it was like literally trying to fight against a grown ass man. And I called my dad, and because I was like, I don't know who else to call, basically. He called the police, and the police came or whatever. It was like a minor thing, but because I did that, I kind of stood up for myself. You know what I mean? But they go get help or some shit. Like, my mom came home and she kind of punished me for it, and really screamed at me about it, because how would that look, and it's embarrassing, and that could have messed up his record, or something like that. And I've had a lot of instances where I would do something like that, like I would cry for help, or I just really wanted out of my environment, right? And even when I was 8, I remember one time, I forgot, my mom was like, she was like, I don't know, we got into something. I was like 8, I was real young, but then something happened. Oh my God, something happened, and I don't know, I just ended up, I remember, like, it wasn't nothing like abusive or something. I don't remember what happened, but I just remember being so sick and tired of things. I just like, I went and like got a piece of paper and drew the word like help and put it on like, I taped it to the windowsill. And my mom came home, she saw that, and like my dad found that shit funny. And at first, for years, I was laughing at that too, but at the same time, it's just like, as long I have been having to call for help from other people, I've been trying to, and it's like, I haven't been like, it's not the type of abuse where like, I've been someone holding a gun to my head type shit. It was just more just like, being sick of, being young and being like inner child, or not knowing how to help yourself. You're just like looking for help outside of things, and to get away from your family or whatever. And like, I'm just, as I'm speaking, I'm just like remembering shit like that, hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, I've been dealing with a lot of like that, like realizing just how important it is for me to like move on, and how dire it is for me to move on and to like become my own person, and in March, when I took that leap, that ended up not working out the way I was hoping to, was the same type of mindset. I was talking about like looking for help on the outside, and you kind of, you can run into some people who, especially if you don't have your own thing going for you yet, you don't have your own finances together, you don't have anything that like you can call your own, other than I only have my car. But then like, how would I pay for my car? How would I, I was out here I was completely vulnerable, and learning that lesson about how I needed to make sure that I have something, or just a plan that could help me be able to stand on my own, whether it be like, nice or not, you know what I mean? Like, so like, I have my own business. The candle you see burning is like mine, that I'm about to start selling. But I, yeah, like knowing what I know now is like, and knowing that, again, like I was on the right track, I just had the wrong approach, to it, and realizing just how, how I've been just, the only reason I've been so stuck or feeling so trapped or whatever is because like I've been stuck in my head trying to still make sense of why people are the way they are and stuff like, and like why I am the way that I am. I don't know if that makes sense, guys, but it's just like, it's just time for me to go, and I have a plan now. And this time around, when I did take that leap in March, it was there was conflict, right? There was conflict. There was like, manipulation, like people trying to like, emotionally manipulate me back into the same environment, which ended up working because like I lost faith in myself, you know what I mean, because things didn't work out the right way, and I ended up throwing myself into work again and just being super shameful, like just, like super hard on myself because of that, because I didn't know how to really cope with that, you know. But like I'm at a point now where I understand that like why, even though like I allowed myself to kind of get back comfortable here again, at the same time it's like I had to still, like I wouldn't have been able to see what I needed to see and learn like what I needed to about myself before I go out in the way that I want to now, you know what I mean? And I know that I might get a lot of kickback too for making this decision as well, because it's unconventional, you know. It's unconventional, you know, and it's like it's something I've been wanting to do, and I had to sit and ask myself, like, am I just running too? Like, I got a reading done so just so I can know that, like, is it even worth, like, staying here or whatever? It's like, I don't know. Everyone I went to seek help from, everybody is just giving me the same advice, and it's like the advice that I already know. It's just more about, like, when am I going to make the jump, you know, take the leap. And I also got that in the reading on top of my therapist kind of like waking me up and saying like, you're like the reason, you know, like not the reason for your own suffering, but kind of like you're at this point, like you're kind of doing it to yourself because you're still there, you know, and you have to work towards moving out of there, right? And a lot of people again are, you know, wanting, you know, are saying like, oh, you just need to, I guess, like, you know, of course I have to work and move out, right? But I think I just want to kind of travel around a little more, you know. I just want to explore right now. I really don't want to be stuck or confined anywhere right now. I want to discover, you know, myself, see what I'm capable of, because I know I'm capable of great things. It's just like, let me see what I can really do when I remove the crutches, you know. And even though I know this environment was toxic, I kind of settled for it, or I was like comfortable with it, because, you know, like I didn't have to worry about shelter or food or whatever. And also, like, even if I was like short on money, like my dad would help me and stuff like that. And it's just like I've gotten to a point, especially after realizing how I was right about a lot of things that kind of ended up causing me trauma when I was like 2015, about the people that I would try to hold accountable, whether it be my brother, my dad, my mom, you know, whoever. Realizing that I was like right in setting those boundaries, you know what I mean, and speaking the truth and like trying to do the right thing. I really don't even want any parts of anybody anymore, you know what I mean? Like I just think it's time for me to go like no contact, you know. And I made sure, you know, I literally got a reading them because I was confused on, you know, maybe, you know, because I was really stuck in my head about maybe it is me, maybe I need to like try and make things work. But this was like, I've been trying to do that and it's been the same cycle, you know, the same pain, the same stress, the same anxiety, the same shit, arguments. You know, I haven't had any arguments recently, but, you know, it's like, it's still that type of relationship dynamic, you know. Like me and my mom don't get along at all, you know. And, you know, like it's just like, you know, I understand like I'm like, this is a choice that I need to make for myself so that I can go out there, you know, and just discover myself. Because like I've been watching videos and stuff about how, after that lifetime of like self-abandonment and like learning how to really love, like, incorporate like a deeper, like some like self-intimacy, if that makes sense. Hold on. Like deeper self-intimacy and just learning how to heal attachment styles and like how to heal my inner child and how to manage my ADHD. Like I've just been coming across like, doing that type of research has been helping me kind of like, preparing me for like how I know I need to like move forward in this world from now on, what I need to be aware of, and what type of boundaries I need to implement, and why this type of decision is the best one for me. Even because like I couldn't sit up here and save to get my own apartment like I've been trying to, but that means I would have to work like 3 to 4 jobs, you know what I mean, in order to even make ends meet, and I just don't like how that's what the world is right now, especially when I know deep down that like my art or something, or know that I am somebody who is not, I'm supposed to be doing something for myself, you know what I mean? And I've just been talking to a lot of people who've been kind of like discouraging whatever, not discouraging in a intentional way, unless it's talking about my parents, but discouraging in a way of like, trying to get me to conform to the way like things happen in real life, or not real life, but how everyone else has to do things. And it's not saying that I'm going to quit my damn job, or I'm not going to try and work, or like I am building something, making sure that I'll have something to fund me, even if that means like I don't have my own place just yet, like have my own source of incoming, and that's all I really need, if that makes sense. So I'm just like banking on that, like really trying to, whether it be through music or these candles or something else, I'm just taking that, and just so I can have a source of income, and like doing things on the side, like I might even do like a part-time job or something, just so I can have flow, like a source of income coming. But I just want to move about more. I want to be able to experience different things, new things, and stuff like that. But to get into why I like hit record is because thinking about all of this is, and talking about growing pains and whatnot, I can relate it back in Anxious Avoidant freestyle that I put out, which kind of correlates to, kind of puts into like, it really explains like what September was for me, and like what I realized about myself. And I was like, I'm just going to mention this, we're just going to start the Anxious Avoidant freestyle thing. The first thing that stood out to me though was the whole like point the finger, I see 4 back in a row, right? And that doesn't necessarily, I was like, I said tussle with my ego, let it go. Point the finger, I see 4 back in a row, right? Shatter glass from the mirror on the floor. And that, for me, that meant, that was like the realization that I had, like how I was mad at people, so angry at people for abandoning me, or leaving me out in the cold, rejecting me or something, and I'm out here still like abandoning myself in a sense, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like when I realized that like my inner child was like gone, because it was after like a Reiki session when I was told like my inner child is like not there, bro. That woke me up like a motherfucker. Like she was gone, and like it's simply because I wasn't protecting her enough. That's yes too. I just wasn't loving her enough either. I wasn't seeing her and stuff like that. I literally like did what other people were doing to me, you know. Well, you know, trying so hard to get someone else to like love me, and ended up neglecting myself, and that's a very common thing, you know. So yeah. And then like if you go listen to that song, you know, I'm gonna just say this in general too, like, you know, I was thinking about this just channel, this community, this YouTube thing or whatever, right? And you know how I wanted to move about in the music world and stuff like that, you know. And my whole perspective around that has changed too, right? Like with me, like I was kind of beating myself up because I was like, you know, people don't really care, you know, I'm not anybody big, so it's like who's gonna care about the explanation of like songs and stuff like that, right? Because I've been doing that since I started the podcast, right? But at the same time, it's like I'm no longer like waiting on anybody to kind of recognize me, you know what I mean, anymore, you know what I mean. I felt like I could probably only start to, I felt like it was only right to explain songs if you had like the genius background and shit like that and whatever. And it's like you don't have to wait on that, you know what I mean, in order to do that. And even just with my art in general, whether it be music, whatever else I make, it's like someone will see it, like someone will appreciate it. Like I don't like Anxious Avoidant is a song that I really love and appreciate, right? But and me explaining it, maybe you don't, if you're watching this, you probably don't give a shit, but like that's probably somebody who will probably find that song and like, you know, kind of wonder like what she mean by this, right? And for whoever that one person is, that's why I'm doing these things, right? And it's like I'm kind of shifting my perspective by wanting to be seen by like, well, that was never my intention to be seen by everybody, but then, you know, the want to be seen is there if you're an artist. Like you can't really like fight that, like it's there for a reason, because you like want to showcase your art, you want to be like recognized for it and applauded for it to an extent, right? But like yeah, I just I went from caring about having a whole lot of people view me as opposed to just having whoever needs it to find it, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm doing what I do now, you know. And that's why I stopped caring about like sitting up here like this, you know. I was like, oh, I gotta go lay my hair down, oh, I gotta, you know, get all dressed and shit. It's like I don't care anymore, and it's not about the superficial shit right now, you know. Yeah, back to what I was saying, like you know, that whole song basically kind of explains like the moment I had the realization to like, and like, you know, especially the way the beat switches too. It goes from like very dark, heavy trap beat to like something more freeing and more like calming, you know, more relaxed, you know. And it kind of explains like, you know, me having that awakening, you know, like how dark it was, like how it was hard, and then like kind of seeing the brighter side of it, you know, at the end of the second half of the song, you know. And it's just truth, you know what I mean? And it's not pretty, you know. Like I had to realize that like even though you can have good intentions and stuff behind things, like you can kind of be harmful still, you know. I also had to learn that not to shame myself, you know, like shaming and guilting yourself for, you know, being having demons, you know what I mean? And it's like I know that, right? But for some reason I still struggle with, you know, accepting that, or like not trying to run from that, you know, a shadow. So like yeah, that's just what that was, and what that song kind of explains too. I'm so sorry about the screaming in the background. She's, every time like she wants someone's attention or something, she has to yell. But then like my sister's going in and out her room right now. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, so yeah, like, I've been trying to put myself out there too, you know. But back to like the whole Steven Universe thing. I have been like if you watch Steven Universe, I love Steven Universe because I relate to not only just Steven but like Garnet, right? And it's a great show to kind of understand. That kind of helped me understand myself, right? And Steven, I relate to Steven a lot, right? And Steven Universe Future, like the last 3 episodes when, or last few episodes when Steven started having those like glowing, like he was growing into something different, like he was bigger and glowing pink and shit, and like he was dealing with all these, he's trying to suppress his anger, his frustration, sadness or whatever, and just the feelings of shame and guilt that he felt around for just feeling those feelings, having petty feelings and stuff like that. Like that explains the month, like that whole, especially the episode where like it's 3 episodes I'm talking about. It's the last 3, but 2 of the 3 when Steven has like his big moment, right? Like when he turns into a monster, like he thinks he's a monster, he turns into a monster and shit, and like that shit broke me down, like when I just watched it, because like as I was writing in my journal today, I thought about it, because it was just like, that's what September, or what I was doing to myself, basically. I was out here portraying like I was fine, I'm the strong one, I gotta be the one to help, I gotta be the one to do this and that, whatever, I gotta have, I gotta be there, I gotta do this, I gotta whatever, and just kind of like you're like feeling, you give like, because the thing about like Steven, and I did this for myself, like I would, he would, let me just use Steven for example, like how like he would encounter people like Jasper, people who were just at first probably seemed so far gone, bro, from like ever being healed, or not even healed, but just like, from being a decent person or whatever. How he would dig to find like the goodness in them, like he didn't want to shatter him, he didn't want to hurt him, whatever. And then he didn't judge them, he always tried to understand things, try to like reason with people, and then like he would just get stomped over and shit. And then like when it came for his time to like, he didn't like, he was so accepting of other people's darkness, like when it was time to face his own, like he like, and because like, I guess it was partly ego too, because of just having to live up to that, even if it's like not intentional, you know what I mean, like having to live up to this, like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm like, dealing with perfectionism, or having to be the strong one, having to be the one that handles everything, cares for everybody, is there for everybody, you know what I mean. Having to be that person all the time, and like, not really having time to like, have anyone see your spots, your hiding spots or something, and or your like your dark side, and validate them like you would validate other people's, like I just related to that so hard, right? And like, eventually, like, like basically that whole, like the last few episodes, even to the one where like Steven, it was like before this one, but when Steven kind of like, he had put the bubble up. I posted this on my Instagram, when he put the bubble up, right, when he couldn't like, when he was starting to realize like how he couldn't like he couldn't help people, like people who didn't need his help, they don't want his help, you know what I mean? And how it kind of like, because it was tied to his identity so much, like he didn't know what to do with himself. That's kind of what I dealt with too. I kind of went through like an identity crisis, probably am still going through it, about who I am and whatever. And I wasn't really allowed to be able to be anything other than that, because it's different when you're like you know, like his situation was a little more different than mine. You know, it was like, it's different when you're kind of expected to, you know, his friends weren't really expecting him like all the time. They was like, bro, it's okay. But, you know, in his head, they had this expectation. He had this his own expectation that he wanted to live up to, because that's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he received love the most for, right? And if that makes sense. But like, yeah, so I just kind of related to that whole thing, you know. And, you know, it goes for fast forward to like the end of it, right? Where he kind of, you know, he decides to like, he came up with a plan to finally just like, you know what? I have to go find myself. I have to go discover myself. I have to embrace my independence. You know, I've clearly outgrown this place. You know what I mean? This character, this person, this version of myself is no longer. And it kind of like that whole second half of that series was Steven having to accept and kill off like that version of himself, and it was really hard to come to terms with. And that's something it's literally the same thing I've been going through. And today I pulled the card on I pulled like past, present, and future, right? In the present position, I pulled the death card, and then even on my personal readings and just in general, I've been pulling the death card, right? I pulled the death card on myself, and like the death card, like, you know, change needs to happen for me. An entire lifestyle change needs to happen for me, especially because I have ADHD. I need something that accommodates my life. You know what I mean? That makes me not feel like I have control, but like feel like, you know, so, you know, just so I can prove to myself certain shit. You know what I mean? Like I gotten comfortable within this. I knew that I wasn't this person anymore, but still like parts of me were like comfortable with like with that, you know what I mean? Like with being that person, or, you know, dealing with the same thing. And I was also trying to like change, like trying to still find and figure out how I can grow the way that I'm looking to in the environment that kind of like just simply won't allow me to. And it's like, yeah, I just have to go my own way right now, right? And it's just like, I'm going to start documenting more about like each step along the way. Like, you know, I'm not going to really say my plan right now, but I have a plan to just, even if I am just in Georgia for a minute, I'm just going to like float around a minute, you know. And, you know, I decided that I am going to get rid of Saint simply because of the financial stuff. You know, I want to be able to just focus on me and paying the 2 bills that I'll have, 2-3 bills that I'll have to pay for at that time, because Saint is, you know, he's a whole dog. I guess a whole nother like burden. And he's not a burden, it's just a whole nother like stressor right there, you know what I mean? And I just have to lighten my load. I have to free myself, save myself. And I said that in a Anxious Avoidant freestyle. You know, I thought about working. You know, like I said, I'm not, right now I know I may still need to work, but I'm not about to be working myself the way that it's been recommended me to do. You know, like I don't mind picking up, like I said, I'm gonna pick up a job or something. I'm gonna keep a stable flow of income coming, because I need to invest it in, you know, the bills that I do have and what I'm trying to do on the side. But outside of that, I'm not like conforming to that or adopting that 2 to 3 job lifestyle, you know, killing myself just to maintain bare minimum stuff, you know what I mean? When I can still find a way to have some type of stability and, you know what I mean, have some type of stability and be able to move as freely as I want to an extent. Like it's not gonna, it's gonna be a journey to get to where I really want to be in that stage, but I'm just gonna start to implement it now. I've even started to start packing my car again, kind of mapping out what I want to do, how I want to do it, like where I want to go, and whatnot, and allow myself to also like really live my life the way that I want, you know, and invest in myself the way that I know that I need to. You know, I hope this makes sense, but I'm just glad I finally got this out. I'm about to get on stream just like this too. Like, I'm so over trying to look apart, you know what I mean? Or not look apart, like I look like myself, but it's just like I'm tired of like stressing over, you know, being all done up, because I don't feel like being done up right now, and I'm not in the mood to be in like I'm super ecstatic right now, you know. It's like, no, like I had to literally sit with myself and tell myself like I am unhappy with my environment right now. The people that I'm around are not healthy for me. It is time for me to let go of these people, places, things, and, you know, just do things in a way that can help me, you know, sustain myself better and bring me more of what I'm looking for, you know, as well as giving back the way that I want to. Like, I'm learning how to help in a way, you know, what I'm building for myself. I'm learning how to help in a way that doesn't require me to overgive, you know, and it just, it feeds my soul. So like with music, that feeds my soul. And, you know, these candles, this is just a prototype, but this is something, every time I look at it, I can't like, I don't know, like, I remember, I knew I've always wanted to start a business, right? And I knew I always wanted to start a business or whatever, and for about years, I've been trying to figure out what I wanted. And I knew that monetary, like, only, you know, I could easily start a business, right, for whatever I wanted, right? You know, it's not hard to, you know, pick up and just say you want to start a business and just choose what you want to do and then, like, do that, right? But for me, I knew that it had to be more to it. I knew I was going to drop it. I knew I was going to let the business fall if I didn't have the passion or the, you know, the passion behind it, the purpose behind it, the reason behind it, like, for what I'm, you know, I couldn't build anything just for nothing, you know, just because I wanted to have fancy stuff. And it's like, it's not that I'm saying that I don't want fancy things. It's just like, it has to feel like I'm giving or doing something more than that, you know. And in a sense, that's what this feels like for me. Because my attention's around it, you know, and this how it's really been a long time coming for me, you know. And also, like, you know, like, like finally being able in the space to like ready to like really have the energy to put into a business and, you know, make sure that I follow through with things and make sure I'm bettering on myself and make sure like I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Being in it just shows the growth and like why God is calling me to do what I need to do, because I was dealing with people in the past who were like draining me, you know. I had that severe people pleasing type of mindset where, you know what I mean, like anytime like I came into a bit of cash, or anytime I came into like, you know, I started working towards something else, I had somebody needing more money from me, or I was in a relationship where a guy was comfortable with just watching me do everything, watching me struggle, watching me like go after my, you know, try and get my car or whatever, and was just okay with me seeing me still doing that while, you know, not really trying to contribute, you know, to like not contribute to the relationship, but contribute to like just balancing things out for me, you know, like taking some of the load off, because I would be paying the phone bill, he was on it, so like he's on the phone all day, you know, at home playing video games, right, and shit, while I'm at work, just got off work at my first job, I'm at a second job working, trying to get my car, then I get in the car, then I'm like having to deal with my mom, like trying to say I'm not doing enough for giving her enough money, you know what I mean, making me responsible for her picking up a Mercedes, right, and it being for her picking a Mercedes, knowing that she couldn't afford to keep a full tank of gas in the Mercedes, so, you know, forcing me to fill it up, and it's like I didn't mind paying gas, but like to, you know, on top of paying the bills I was already paying, you know, like it was just, I had to learn how to set boundaries, I had to learn how to believe in myself, I had to learn how to not be giving, I had to not be so giving that I forget myself, I had to learn that I have to feel people out, you know what I mean, like I dealt with, the last guy that I dealt with, I learned that he was intentionally doing what he was doing, you know, because playing the role, because at first like he was like admired by me being the go-getter, right, and then it turned into like, you know, he felt emasculated or something, and instead of just like doing his own shit, I guess, or just believing in himself, I don't know what it was, but you know, really just found pleasure in making me feel like shit, or making me like trying to play on my self-worth wounds, which is something else I had to heal as well, you know what I mean, and it's like I genuinely had love for this person, I was like praying for that person, and you know, I realized God was just protecting me, and like I got a reading recently where it just kind of laid everything out on the table for me, so I can see the truth of things, the truth, you know, and stop being so in my head, like back and forth, because that was what's keeping me, that's what was keeping me stuck, you know, so like, yeah, you know, I really was fucked up about that, because I couldn't understand why people were like that, and like literally I had to be told like, bro, it's just like, it's not you, it's people do what they do because they just don't feel like they can not handle you, but yes, handle me, but they can't handle me, but it's also like a, you know, it shows them a side of like themselves that they are afraid to tap into, you know. And that's another thing, like I've been looking at how what's been making me, motivating me, is just looking at how people around me, it's like a theme in my family, especially my immediate family, from my mom, my dad, and my sister, like they, you know, it's a common theme to like start something and then let it fall through, you know, and you know, we all have our moments, right, and I've had my moments this year, especially when it came to music, but I realized like I didn't want to be that person again. I didn't want to repeat that cycle of saying I was going to do something and then putting it off and never doing it, and moving on to 2 or 3 years later, and you know, trying to do things the normal way and end up still in the same situation, you know what I mean? Like I've literally tried working in 2 jobs and not really getting anywhere with getting a car, you know, literally working on the credit or whatever, and them literally telling me it doesn't mean shit, because like I was still new to credit, so it's like I still got hit over the head, you know. And it's just, yeah, it's just something like, you know, I also appreciate it too about how like God was like, I remember I'm like, why God is like wanting me to embrace my independence right now, because not only is it a service of protection for my dating life and for me to be able to actually see through people's like intentions early, like I can see through people's intentions, but like I was advised, like I was, you know, the person that I can you know, that I booked with, they were kind of explaining to me like how like when you build something for yourself, you're able to spot people who are just users or people who can play the part, you know, wear a mask well, you know, until they can get what they want or some shit. So it's like, or, you know, they can just, you know, just try to get in and then try to like control, you know, you or whatever. So like, not only that, but like it also was, you know, my dad is kind of like that, you know, in a sense, like, and that's why I was like, I want to kind of go cold turkey without asking him for any money anymore, you know what I mean? Because I realized that was like a way that was kind of keeping me stuck, you know what I mean? It was kind of keeping me from actually going out and doing what I needed to do, because I always had him to like kind of rely on. I was like, but why, you know, like I'm not going to get into that part, like why didn't he just cut us off, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like my dad is generous, but at the same time it's like looking at how he likes to have the women or have people come to him begging for money or something, you know, rely on him for that, because it kind of gives him that type of ego boost or something, whether it's intentional or not. It's just like it does that for, like, I've noticed that because how he does that with women he's with. So it's like I realized like it's something that I don't want to keep doing because I'm not that person, you know. And also like just, you know, I was remembering the times where I was trying to get my car, when I was trying to ask him to help me get my apartment, about like, this kind of goes in what I was saying about men, kind of, or people just in general, like wanting to or liking to control women who are ambitious or who are so independent or something. I don't know, like go-getters. Because I would ask my dad like, hey, can you like help me get a car or whatever, right? Or, you know, can you co-sign for me a car? I'll pay for the insurance, I'll pay for everything, you don't have to worry about anything, just help me get a car. Same thing with an apartment, right? And he would always come up with like, oh, he didn't have the money, he's not going to do it, da 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 da. And it was the only, and I realized because he did these same things for my sister immediately when she asked for him, right? And I realized, because the way that I was asking for it and the way I was telling him like hey, like I wasn't leaving any room for him to have any strings attached, basically, to have any type of control or say so of what I was doing, either in the apartment or with the car, you know what I mean? Or, you know, I wouldn't have a reason to call him or something, you know what I mean? Like it just, you know, me showing up with like, hey, like I don't need your full help, I need just, you know, just help me get started and then I'll handle the rest, you know. So I have it within me, it's just, you know. And then it kind of really did hurt my feelings when my sister asked for a car and she got it in like 2 weeks, and sleeping in the apartment, you know. And like, you know, God was showing me like when I finally got mine, like not only do I value having a car, because it means a lot to me now, right? You know, it means my freedom. It, you know, when I got that car, I was like, damn, I could live out this bitch, like this is all I need, you know. And, you know, showing how responsible I was with it, right? I was able to, you know, even though like having a car can be stressful because of the payments and the maintenance and stuff like that, it's like I would rather have that burden myself rather than have someone else make it easy for me, right? But they have full control over what I can do with it. They can, anytime we get into an argument or I tell them no, they can take the car back. They can literally do whatever they want with it. And it's like in this situation, like only the bank could take my car, right? You know, like I've been having to work with them, you know, because I took that leap of faith with no job, no plan. Now I haven't been working this year, only for about 2-3 months already. I've been back working. And yeah, like, you know, like I would just call them and be like, yo, like listen, this is my issue, da, 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 and they just work with me, even though like, again, it's not the right thing to do to push things back credit wise. It's like sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, you know. And it's like, this shit can be fixed, you know, especially if you're working towards like you're investing in something that can bring you what you need to be able to fix it, as opposed to trying to work 2-3 jobs and you work 45 years trying to pay some shit down. You know what I mean? Like, that way of living is no longer, you know, it's not sustainable, and it's not going to, like, people can do it, and I condemn people who can do that. I really do. I wish I could be you, but I've tried it before. I did it before I got my car, and it's not that I didn't, like, I was young, naive, whatever, like I'm saying, like, I didn't have the knowledge or whatever, but at the same time, it was just like, you know what I mean, like, it's more important for me to work on my independence and then do what I need to do to get what I need, my basic necessities, and then work on fixing it and making it easier, you know what I mean? Anyways, but yeah, I just realized that, like, you know, all those nights I was crying about, like, people not helping me, whatever, it was God really protecting me and saving me, because, like, hearing those stories my sister tell me about my dad, about how he put, like, a tracker on her car, how he was popping up at the apartment, you know, unannounced while she was sleeping, and just sitting in the living room on some creepy shit. And, like, he has a whole lot of other stories doing that with actual women, right? You know, and it's just like, he's kind of the example God was using, you know, been an example of what I don't want in a man, or just in anybody generally, like, why you don't want to depend on someone, like, who kind of views women like that, you know what I mean, or finds power in using women like that, you know, even if they have a lot of money, you know, so, like, yeah. But I'm gonna stop that here. I'm gonna edit this tomorrow, post it. I'm not gonna put nothing. I'm probably gonna put, like, life is what you make it be under, I don't know, in the background on this, but nothing too serious. I love you guys. Hopefully, I don't know, this is just a vlog, literally. This is just for me, no one else, you know. I don't post these things. I just want to tell my story. You know, I do like to share the themes and stuff, astrologically and stuff, just to make sense of what's going on in my life, and then, like, if people relate to it, they relate to it, and I hope people can relate to it, because it'll help me kind of feel like I am not alone in this type of shit, you know. So outside of that, like, you know, this is just for me, you know, and I don't really care if, you know, you up here see me hyperpigmentation and all, you know, bonnet on, dirty bonnet, that, like, fuck it, I'm over it, you know. But and I hope you can hear me, because I'm talking low, and I'm only talking low because of the environment that I'm in. So yeah, I don't know how long this pretty stuff will be up, but you know, I am going to keep in touch. You know, I have to get another SD card, but I'm going to keep in touch, you know, to kind of document the process. Like, I've already started. I packed my toiletries already, and whatnot, and I'm just right now looking at what I'm going to sell, you know. I'm also, like I said, I'm getting rid of Saint Pookie Butt. I love him, but he got to go, you know. So, I love you guys. Pray for me. Peace.